So I'm sat here with the Dell website on my screen again, advertising another one of their workstations. I swear I'm not a Dell shill. I've never even spoken to them before, but they just keep coming up with cracking promotions, and this one is too good to miss. If you're in the market for a workstation for Inventor or Fusion 360 or anything else really 3D CAD related that could suit this specification, this is far too good to pass up. It is so good, I'm considering getting one myself. I'm on the UK Dell Precision website. I don't know if this is going to apply to other regions, but they've got a promotion on at the moment for RAM. They've got free RAM upgrades, which causes the workstation to be ridiculously low priced for what you get, and I'm going to show you why. So we're at the Precision T3000 level, which is the entry level for the Precision workstations. They've got 3000, 5000 and 7000. So the T3620 is the entry level, but it is fine for Autodesk Inventor. What you can put in this thing is ludicrous for the price. Starting off with the operating system. So I'm going to go through the specs and I'm going to show you how I've spec'd this. It's currently at £1,988 English pounds, excluding VAT. Add 20% onto that for the VAT, but I tend to speak to businesses on this channel. It's an Inventor channel, which is a mechanical, the high-end 3D CAD application used by businesses who claim VAT backs over. VAT kind of doesn't matter really in most cases, but if you're a consumer, regular consumer, you will have to add 20% onto that, or you can ring them up and say, I'm not paying that. And the sales rep will discount it. They will discount it, trust me on that. Right, so scrolling down, we've got Windows 10. Don't forget, this is how I would buy this. I'm genuinely considering continuing and pulling the trigger on this. It is a stunning deal. Windows 10, don't be that guy. Windows 7 is approaching end of life, right? It's inevitable. You're going to have to go to Windows 10 at some point soon. And it's fine. It works fine with pretty much everything that's relevant to what we do. Whatever, go for whatever suits you. Windows 10 is what I've got selected here. The processor, right, here we go. For £2,000, we're starting off pretty high end here. We've got the 7700K, which is Intel's flagship Kaby Lake i7. We do have now an extra platform on top of the i7, which is the i9 and the Enthusiast X Kaby Lake X platform with the 7740X and the X299 platform. We're never going to get those in Dell Precision workstations, and they're overkill for what we need. The 7700K in terms of clock speed and in terms of cores is pound for pound the best value CPU on the market for Inventor today. But if you want to be a true workstation baller, then you can go for this one here, which is the Xeon V6 1270 V6. This is pretty much exactly the same CPU as this one here. It is cut from the exact same silicon. It is the exact same chip. It's just been tuned down a few hundred megahertz by Intel to make it a Xeon, to make it run cooler, to make it more reliable in an enterprise environment. So that there and that there are almost identical. The 7700K has onboard graphics. The 1270 V6 doesn't. It doesn't matter. Nobody's running onboard graphics for 3D CAD, so that doesn't matter. But all in, these two are on the same architecture, the exact same chip. So if you want to be a true workstation baller, you can go for that one there. If you want to run it at a few hundred megahertz higher, then you can go for the 7700K. If it was me, if I'm putting this into a business, I'd go for the Xeon. If I'm buying it for myself, I'd go for the 7700K. So I'm going to select that 7700K. Right, productivity software. No, thank you very much. Fortunately, Dell offer an opt-out option for their bloatware or the trial stuff. So you can just say no productivity software, which is the trial of Microsoft Office. No, thank you very much. Dell applications for Windows 10. Can we learn more and disable it? No, we can't, fully enough. Right, video card. This, again, is a stunning deal, right? Dell are offering an amazing choice of current generation graphics cards. Really, genuinely they are. So we've got the AMD FirePro cards, which they're legacy now. These are old generation. But if you scroll down and hit others, we can put in the NVIDIA current generation Pascal-based Quadro cards. Also, the brand new Radeon Pro WX AMD professional level workstation graphics cards. I've got this card here in the office, and I've just run it through my TFI 23-point stress test. This thing here in Inventor performs identically to the Quadro P4000, to the Quadro M4000, also to a 1080 Ti. That's how much Inventor doesn't really care much for graphics cards as long as the VRAM's in check. So I've put in a Quadro Y because it's a quality graphics card. It is amazing. It's mid-range in terms of the Pascal Quadros, but it packs an amazing punch. It's sort of GTX 1070 level, so it's got a lot of power to it. It's got a lot of VRAM to it. It's got 8 gig of VRAM. It's got 4 display ports on the back, so you can run plenty of monitors, no problem, with plenty of VRAM to cover. So you might not just be running Inventor and Fusion 360 and 3D CAD, you might end up using your workstation for other tasks that require the features of a Quadro card, the 10-bit operations. You might need that double precision floating point power. Who knows what you might end up needing. So you can go for that. Alternatively, I mean, look at Quadro P4000 and we're under £2,000. If you want to go for the Radeon Pro WX3100, you're still going to run Inventor absolutely fine. You're going to get no bottlenecks whatsoever going from that down to that in Autodesk Inventor, and we're down to 1,600 quid. 7700K or a V6 4-core top-of-the-line Xeon and professional workstation graphics for 1,600 quid. That is phenomenal, and it gets better. Right, we're scrolling down. I've selected the most effective chassis that Dell offer for this platform, which is, it says 365 watts. I don't believe that that's the actual power supply rating. To put in a Quadro P4000 and 7700K, you're going to need more than a 365 watt power supply in your chassis. So I don't think that that's actually true. But that's the highest one anyway, and it makes you select that based on your configuration anyway. They're not going to supply you a PC with a subpar power supply anyway, so just let them take care of that. That's the whole point in buying a pre-built. We're going to scroll down, and indeed we have 32 gig of DDR4 RAM in this workstation for 1,600 quid. 32 gig of RAM, 7700K, professional grade graphics cards for 1,600 quid. It is ridiculous. This deal is ridiculous. If you want to, you can go up to 64 gig of RAM and you're still less than 1,900 quid. Just crackers. It's absolutely crackers. It's too good to pass up. Seriously too good to pass up if you are in the market right now for a workstation. But I'm going to drop that down to 32 gig. 64 is a bit overkill for Autodesk Inventor. I've got 32 gig in my workstation in my office, and I've never ever went over 32 gig of RAM. If you think you will, go for it. But if you've got a little bit more money to spend, if you've got leeway in that budget, I'd rather put that extra 200 quid for that RAM upgrade to 64 gig of RAM. I'd rather put that elsewhere than the RAM upgrade, especially if you go for, say for example, 2x16 instead of 4x8. That gives you some scope in the future to upgrade the RAM yourself. We're only using 2 slots here rather than 4, so you can upgrade the RAM in the future if you want. Right, 32 gig of RAM, hell yes. If you go for a Xeon though, then you've got the option of selecting ECC RAM for a true workstation, but unfortunately I don't think the RAM promotion extends as far as ECC RAM. So now that was selected the Xeon, if we go down to the memory configurator, you can see here we can put in 32 gig of ECC RAM, but the price skyrockets. It's an extra 400 quid, which kind of puts it, it's still, to be honest, right, let's do this, right, add 407 quid. For 32 gig of RAM, Xeon V6, professional workstation graphics, ECC RAM, £2,000 is still an amazing deal. It's just that with this RAM promotion on non-ECC RAM, this is borderline criminal. It's borderline criminal. Snap one up immediately if you're in the market. It gets better though, the hard disk configuration. I've spec'd up an M.2 SSD with a secondary mechanical hard disk. So our primary hard disk is a 512 gig NVMe PCI Express M.2 solid state drive. Super fast NVMe boot drive in this workstation. If you've got, like I said, that 200 quid budget to leeway with, perhaps don't put it into the RAM, put it into your boot drive if you want to, and you can go up to a terabyte PCI Express NVMe drive. Terabyte, and we're at 1,700 quid. Ridiculous, ridiculous. I don't know what grade of drive they put in here. From my experience, Dell tend to use Samsung, either their PM951 or the PM961, or the SM951 or the SM961, which is the unbranded kind of generic OEM version of the 960 or 950 Pro M.2 drive, which are absolutely fine. They're brilliant drives, so they haven't cheaped out on me in the past when I've bought Dells with their hard disks. So that's that 512 gig boot drive NVMe. And then the secondary drive I've put in a 1 terabyte 7200 RPM secondary mechanical drive, and there we go. We've got a DVD writer in, and then the rest of it is entirely optional, not required unless you want it. For example, a wireless card in the back of the workstation, 30 quid. You're still on a winning deal, and then you've got a little bunch of add-in cards and whatnot, monitors, mice, whatever. So recap time. We have Windows 10. All right, we have a 7700K. Let's put that back in there, right? 1,600 quid. We have the Radeon Pro WX3100 professional workstation graphics card. In fact, let's go back to the P4000, because that's what I would buy. that's what I would buy. If I've got $2,000, which is not unreasonable for a workstation, a Quadro P4000, $2,000 winning deal. We've got 32 gig of RAM. We've got a 512 M.2 SSD, NVMe boot drive, and a secondary mechanical drive, all for the princely sum of $2,000. Go for it. That is a stunning workstation for Autodesk Inventor at an absolutely stunning price. You can see the price as it was before. Nobody pays that price, obviously. And in fact, if you were to ring up Dell and say, look, I've configured this workstation, I'm not wanting to pay that, you'll probably be able to speak to a sales rep and haggle them down a little bit. So that's my recommendation for today. If you're in the market, go for this right now. And what I want to finish up on is I want to give my friends over at Box a little bit of a shout out. Because guess what? I've been on a Box's website and I've spec'd up the exact same workstation. Do you know how much they're selling this exact same workstation for? 7700K, Windows 10, 32 gig of RAM, Quadro P4000, 512, NVMe PCI Express, M.2 solid state drive. Do you know how much they're selling the exact same computer for? Nearly $5,000. 7700K, 32 gig of DDR4 RAM, Quadro P4000, 512 M.2 NVMe solid state drive, secondary, exactly the same PC, and our mates over at Box are selling this for $5,000. So that is what it is. That is what it is. So I thought I'd bring that to you. Let me know if you do decide to go and buy it. I'm quite curious to see if anyone will go and buy this one. Anyway, I'll see you in the next one. Toodles.